everybody, in this video we're talking Marvel Snap, Nimrod. Does he fall short? Is he amazing? Also, we're going to look at some key plays with him that might be beneficial for his use, and also some quick, easy counters. And so, does that mean you should buy the season pass? So, let's jump in. Nimrod's obviously the season pass right now. If you're unaware, when he gets destroyed, it adds a copy to another location. He's a turn 5 card unless you find a way to play him earlier, and I do think that's something that makes him a bit more challenging to make him as versatile as possible. So for that reason, I'm not sure how much I'm going to love him. So let's look at some, I like to call these kind of good plays, like the situation where it's like, this is what you're trying to get to with Nimrod, so that you're like, yes, I can win my locations. This works. Question is how rare are these? Now, also, I'm going to show at least one where it's kind of like, that's how easy it is to counter. So last night I was playing with Nimrod and I got him. I was streaming live on YouTube. The links in the description below for both my Twitch and my YouTube live channel. And right now the deck I've got on here, it's not amazing or anything like that. It's just sort of a, you know, I'd say okay deck. It's got some general destroys in it. I've adjusted a little bit since then. I'm not a big fan of the magic situation because I don't really think it adds that much. So what you can see here is I just laid out Shuri. And the plan is basically Shuri, Nimrod, and then something else. Now, ideally, if you're going to play a Zola, you definitely want to have a clear lane. Now, I already think like, all right, well, whether I get Monster or Nimrod here, doesn't matter. They're essentially the same. So this is a nice setup where, you know, they're looking to double up Black Panther. They're looking up to double up Doom. And I'm going, well, I'm going to double up, you know, either a Monster or Nimrod. Now, luckily, I got the Nimrod. Because when I destroy it, that means it duplicates it. So that in itself is sort of like a fun, interesting little play. Like, can you get the Shuri? Can you get the Nimrod? Can you get the Zola? Worked out in this case. Is that an amazing play? It's not bad. You know, having multiple 10 cards all over the place, that's pretty good. Now, again, you've got to get it perfectly lined up. So it's kind of like, how possible is that? But this is one of the decent plays. This is another one. I like to call this sort of like a double destroy with Nimrod. I was able to get Nimrod out sooner, obviously, because of Sakaar. If there's some reason that you can get him out sooner, or you've got a longer game, then, and honestly, even you can do it in a regular game, because if you play him on 5, and then turn 6, you play like a Carnage and or Venom, or even any assortment of those, either Carnage, Venom, or Deathlock. If you can play 2 of those, in one of them on the location of the existing Nimrod and one of them in another location after the first destroy card, then you can get them in multiple locations. I think that's another decent type of play with this guy. This particular game is that setup. So this is turn 5. I'm sitting here thinking like, what do I want to do in this? Because I got the opportunity to actually double destroy on turn 5 because Nimrod got sucked out earlier. I'm doing the double destroy here. So the person up top is obviously doing their destroyer. They're just moving around their Wolverine. I've got my Carnage. Obviously does his thing with the Nova and the Nimrod. And then I've got my Deathlock, who hits on the left-hand side, hits Nimrod again, and obviously Wolverine again, and then moves everything all over the place again. So now I've got multiple Nimrods. And then on top of this, then I would have dropped Zola, I assume, on the right-hand side. Yeah. So that's another option where this is like not just the double destroy, but also the double destroy into the Zola. That's another play here that's not bad. Now, I probably shouldn't have snapped here, but honestly, I think they probably would have left anyway, which is exactly what happened. They saw it, they knew it. It was kind of like, and that honestly, if you look at this hand, it's not that intimidating at all. I mean, he's down 4 in the mid, 12 right, he's up 1 on the left-hand side. I don't know. So, but again, the double destroy aspect, and then the Zola again. This is one where I didn't have video, but I did want to share a screenshot. So the Shuri double up here and the Wakanda embassies, which obviously I also got 2 of. So I had a Nimrod set up with an 18. I laid them out. They basically immediately retreated. So I had a big Nimrod out. I didn't have the double destroy because the Deathlock was already played, but it was still would have put a bunch of 18 or a couple 18 Nimrods out throughout the board, which would have been fantastic. Again, it's an easy tell, so they see it, they know it, they move away. Here's one on Reddit that I really enjoyed. I think this is a kind of a fun play where they just, the sinister, again, and I think Destroyer is probably going to want to be the better ones here. Destroyers just gets played at multiple locations. They already had a huge Nimrod on the field, and they just keep throwing them all over the place. Again, similar concept. You got a Sinister London, you've got a big Nimrod, and you use Destroyer to put more on the field. Now, this particular one gets Shang-Chi'd, which, again, when we're talking about counters, if you start doubling up on Nimrod, you got to be careful with it because they see it and they're like, all right, well, they're going to destroy Nimrod there, so it might be at a couple other locations. Now, if you want to counter the counter, then maybe you don't destroy Nimrod. You just leave Nimrod in the one spot and play a decent card somewhere else. And so wherever Shang-Chi's at, it doesn't hit the Nimrod. But anyway, I thought this was a very creative play on both players' ends. I really liked how they got all those big Nimrods everywhere. And then obviously the Shang-Chi, it benefited a little bit from the Savage Land on that last turn, but still, they would have hit 2 spots, so I don't think it mattered. And here's one more Reddit play where you're getting multiple Nimrods all over. Again, a Destroyer type play here, which I think is, you know, more than likely going to be one of the better aspects of how to use this guy, because you don't get a lot of opportunity. I mean, it's just like, so you're putting a few 5s here and there, you get some 10s in the middle, and it just keeps popping around. So again, cool, fun. I like seeing them everywhere. It's neat, but is it a tell? Is it too easy to tell? This is a great win by Cereal. I love the name there. Breakfast of Champions with Nimrod. I don't know. So here on turn 5, I play Nimrod, which I have to do. They've got a red skull out there, so it's okay. You know, and this is obviously not looking to be a great play for me, but the one I want to illustrate with this is just how easy it is to sort of counter Nimrod. So I could sit here and go, okay, I mean, my thought is what, Zola, maybe a double destroy with a, you know, a Deathlock, Venom Carnage, one on Nimrod on the right, another one somewhere else. I decide on the double destroy. I just tried nothing. So Cosmo, super easy counter to this. I mean, it was a great play on their part. It was smart, and it's really easy. I mean, literally, you see Nimrod on the field, and it's like, well, if I'm really worried about this and I don't have Shang-Chi or anything like that, I'm just gonna Cosmo that spot. I'm good. He's not going anywhere. Not going anywhere unless you've got a Destroyer somewhere else or a Galactus somewhere else. So the summation here is, I think he's a fun card. I think he's an interesting card, but he's really easy to counter. It's too telling with just Nimrod. There's not really a surprise factor except for maybe in the double destroy situation where, like I said, you've got, in this kit, like I've got here, I've got a Deathlock I would have done there, and then I would have hit it again in Venom and somewhere else. That to me is the biggest surprise factor that you could probably do. But either way, they know Nimrod's there, so they know it's at least going to a couple other spots. Now, the other option is obviously, as shown, Destroyer and or Galactus. I think Nimrod ultimately makes those decks stronger and better, which makes sense. I feel like the Destroyer deck and even the Galactus deck to an extent should feel a little better. And I think Nimrod is an absolute necessity to go in either one of those decks. You absolutely have to have him in those. And I think that's where he fits best. I think it makes the most sense. You can get him outside, you know, to do some other things, but he's not carrying a hand or a deck, a play. He could do a little bit, but he's an accessory piece. If you want to try to make a deck around him, you really need to get it lined up really good with those Shuri type plays, those Forge type plays, and get it multiplied and big, and also be able to play multiple destroy cards on that final turn with a decent sized Nimrod and not get countered, which is pretty easy, as you can see with Cosmo. So for that reason, you know, be wary with this. We're going to transition this into the concept of whether you want to buy or not buy the season pass. So he's not going to break the meta. I think that's pretty much defined. I do think he's very similar to MODOK. I know a lot of people when MODOK first came out were, oh my gosh, oh my God. I think he's similar to MODOK, maybe slightly less impactful, but he's a great accessory piece to a certain deck type with some potential. You know what? I'd say he's a hair above MODOK because he does have some potential to carry a deck to an extent if you get the right sequence, whereas MODOK can't do that. You absolutely have to play MODOK in a discard archetype. He's not fitting anywhere else. Obviously, you got to play Nimrod in a destroy archetype, but you could double up Nimrod and spread them around a little bit over versus MODOK, who's just going to feed Morbius. So I don't know. Maybe they're one and the same. You decide. Let me know in the comments below. So here we go. We got the season pass all through it. Quick, easy sum totals with these. I like to track these again on a spreadsheet. You've got all your money totals here. So if you want to buy this season pass, what do you get extra? Well, you get 4 cards, 230 boosts, 9 miscellaneous avatars, totals, whatever, 300 credits, and 900 gold. $10 for 900 gold? Okay. Seems like a pretty good deal, right? $10 for 700? So you're getting 200 more for $10, and you're getting a bunch of cards and stuff. So as far as base pricing in the game goes, pretty good. And you still get decent stuff for free if you're not a spender. You get a bunch of credits and you get a decent amount of gold. So I think either way you go here, it's not the end of the world. I do think that it's worth the $10 if you're thinking about spending. At some point, you will have a destroy archetypes. There might be hot locations that really play to this where you could just keep putting destroy cards, into, I guess this isn't like a bounce card similar to Deadpool where you could keep feeding it to like Death's Domain. But, maybe there's a play for it later. And I think for $9.99 US dollars, it's not so bad. So what are you going to do? Are you going to buy this thing? I'd love to hear from you. I'm very curious to see how people are playing them, how they feel about them. Again, I think after playing them a number of times for several hours, just, since he's been released, I think he's going to be an okay card who fits into an archetype pretty decently, has the capability of winning you some plays, but not going to be sort of a meta-defining card, which honestly, I feel like that's the way it should be. You shouldn't get this all-powerful card from the season pass, except for maybe here and there where it's like, oh, this is a must-buy season pass, sure. But if it's like that every single month, I think some free-to-play players might just not like it, not dig it. So comment below, let me know what your thoughts are. I'm going to keep playing around with them, but I'm more than likely going to go switch back to what I used to climb to infinite last season, which is a little depressing because I wanted to change a little bit, but maybe I can get some new cards in the ladder as well to change up the decks I'm playing with. If you found this helpful at all, please consider hammering down the like button. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.